show, this is huge. Trump, not only is he beginning to beat Kamala Harris big time in the polls, but now the Supreme Court is getting involved again to dismiss the trials in the New York hush money cases. This is huge. He was supposed to be sentenced, but now it's been delayed, and now the Supreme Court is getting involved, and this is just big wins for Trump. Because again, too, now that essentially these things are behind him, is he going to win in a landslide? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. One of Kamala Harris's big-time supporters, Bernie Sanders, actually came out and straight up said that Kamala Harris is saying whatever she needs to say and doing whatever she needs to do just to win the presidency, that she has not changed from who she was or her values. She's just saying what needs to be said to win, which lets us know what is she at, what is the truth, what does she actually stand for? There was actually a plot that was just foiled that would have been worse than the 9/11 attack. They said they were going to target Jews. It was going to happen on October 7th. We have all the details, but thankfully, nothing happened. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And thank you to all of our new members of the channel that are joining the True Life News community. The links are in the description. And just remember, it's less than $1 a month. But what we're trying to do is get to 10,000 members because we want to use that money to change lives. There's so much crazy going on that I believe this community can come together. We're going to go out into the community and give back, video it, and you're going to be a part of it. And that's what we want to do. We want this channel to be more than just reporting the news, but doing some really good in this world. So please join us. The links are in the description. And just want to say thank you to Lynn Defoe, who just joined as a new member, and Joyce Mesa. So thank y'all so much. Also, just want to say thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation to the channel. Just want to say thank you to Jason W. Johnson, who blessed us with a big donation to the channel. We are so grateful for it. Me and my family just thank every single one of y'all. Maria and 69MW and Joanne Smith, thank you so much. But we got so much crazy news going on. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Check this out.
This case.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to move to this. Judge Juan Marchand in New York postponed Donald Trump's sentencing until November 26th, after the election. I'm curious, every step of the way throughout this trial, Judge Marchand has been, I would personally say, aggressive towards Donald Trump, not friendly to the defense. And then all of a sudden he's going to delay sentencing. I mean, from the outside, I'm looking at this going, what's the motivation? Clearly, every time Donald Trump's been indicted or they've gone after him, his poll numbers and fundraising have gone up. And Marchand has seemed very political. Was this a political calculation by Marchand?
I mean, it seems to me that he's in a pickle, right? Judge Marchand's in a pickle. What do? I sentence someone who's running right now, the forerunner. He will probably be elected president. I sentence him before he gets elected. When the Supreme Court came down with a case that pretty much invalidates the entire state court case.
Right.
Do you see that? You just heard that. This is big. This is something that they're talking about big time. This is a New York-based trial attorney that said that the Supreme Court pretty much invalidated Trump's entire case. This is huge.
Evidence. How do you do that? So, of course, there's going to be an appeal. The Supreme Court already said the evidence you used in this case, Prosecutor Alvin Bragg, cannot be used against a former president.
This is
because
insane.
of presidential immunity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at then is a situation where Judge Marchand's probably saying, well, if I sentence him, that's not going to work. And if I wait, at least we'll see what's going to happen.
Right.
And, you know, he'll probably, and anyone who read the Supreme Court decision should just reverse.
Yeah, it's a bad legal decision, which will probably be one on appeal at some level. Sure. I also think that Marchand's a political character, and at some point you have to look at the political calculation as well. I think he did.
Yeah.
And go, wow, this will help Donald Trump if I sentence him.
Well,
probably. We'll never know at this point. But
yeah, we'll never know. But I mean, it certainly couldn't hurt Donald Trump because it would be really obstruction of justice at this point. And it would really be election interference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Right there. So you just heard that this attorney just said that the Supreme Court just basically invalidated the entire New York hush money trial case And now that they're looking into all these other cases that could be considered as election interference. This is huge. Right now in the polls, this just came out literally today. Trump is now beating, look, 60 favored to win presidencies, 63.8% compared to Harris's 36%. This is insane. The amount of, like, look at this, the change where they were literally going almost at the same pace, and then now Trump is just blowing Kamala Harris out the door. Hey, Woodbury Hill Studio, thank you so much for the blessing. Said, happy Sunday from the Hill home. Let's get a dono train going. Thank you so much for that blessing. Show Woodbury Hill Studio some love in the chat, everybody. So now that Trump is winning big time, Pennsylvania is right now on the verge, or they already about to start early voting. So now there's a lot of stuff going on with what just happened with the trial and now where they're about to go to. So check this out, because this is huge.
Huckabee. Thank you for being with us, Governor. First of all, let's just talk about how weird that is. One debate. I asked the producers to just give me some history. Going back to 2020, going back to 2000, always 3 debates, always. Mm-hmm. There was 2 in 2020 because Trump got COVID, and so they canceled one. But that's shocking that there's only going to be 1 debate, at least for now, 1 debate.
Well, and the reason for that is because Kamala Harris doesn't want a debate. She doesn't want this one. She tried every way in the world to weasel out of it by asking for rules to be changed, just so she would have an excuse. The fact is, the one good thing in all of this is that it's an early debate. And that's important because some of the debates in the past have happened after half the people had already voted in early voting. And so therefore, a lot of those folks may have listened to the debate and said, oh boy, did I ever make a mistake. So this time, at least the debate is going to happen prior to people going out to vote. That's a plus. Reality is Donald Trump would debate every week if Kamala Harris would want to. It's not him that's holding 100%. It back. It's Kamala Harris and her people. They know she can't manage that stage very well with someone like Donald Trump.
Managing that stage is kind of, it's the big question of what it's going to be like on Tuesday. You've been there. As we mentioned, you've debated Donald Trump. And I've said this morning, Governor, I think it's not the easiest calculation for Trump either, because when you're debating a woman, you can come off as a jerk if you're too aggressive, but he has to be aggressive in prosecuting his case and exposing her. I don't know what she's going to do, because she's got to be substantive at some point in a debate, you would think. How do you see this playing out on Tuesday?
Well, I think the smart play for Trump is to do what he did with Biden. Let Biden talk. Let Kamala talk. The more she talks, the worse it gets for her. She does not know how to speak extemporaneously and make sense. So all of us have seen her word salad issues. I think if Trump can go in and, instead of really attacking her, ask her questions. Ask her, you've been all over the board on fracking. Where are you now? You've been all over the board on the border itself. You were the border czar. Explain to us what you did on the border and how well did it work. Just go after her with lots of questions, because the moderators aren't likely to ask those hard questions of her. So Donald Trump can do it. And then he doesn't have to be mean about it, and let her then talk. And if she does that, Donald Trump walks away with the huge prize. And having been on the stage with him, one of the things I can tell you, he doesn't go in there with this level of being predictable. Right. I mean, there's a reason that he's running for president right now, and I'm talking to you. So there you go.
Well, you're on Fox Friends, but you were also in Israel this week. There's a lot going on in Israel. There's protests, I believe, in Israel asking for a hostage deal. I want to ask you, what was your takeaway being on the ground this week in Israel?
My takeaway is, and I was there when the 6 hostages were murdered by being shot in the back of the head. Here's the takeaway. Wow. There are a lot of stupid people, both in America and around the world, who think that Hamas ought to be respected. There are a lot of dumb people who think that you can make a deal with Hamas. You can't. Israel has put several.
They are a known terrorist group. That's all you have to know.
Offers of a ceasefire on the table. Hamas has walked away from every one of them. They don't want a ceasefire.
No.
They want to let this drag out as long as they can. Look, I understand the frustration of the Israelis. Many of them just want it to end. And there's 120,000 families displaced. They don't have a place to be right now. They can't work. They can't live in their homes because of rockets coming in from the north and from the south and from the Houthis and from the threat of Iran. They want it to be over. but they can't have it over until Hamas is destroyed and that there's a real pushback. And why this administration doesn't put the screws on Iran, stop the money flow, is something that I'll never be able to fully understand.
Well, Governor, I don't know when you go back from Israel, so I don't know if you're watching Fox and Friends for the last couple of mornings, but, while you were in Israel, I was in Northwest Arkansas, and I've been talking up Arkansas for the last couple of days. How pretty.
I just want to say real quick, thank you so much, Sandra Marie Renzi. Thank you so much for the super chat. Everybody show Sandra some love in the chat. Guys, this is where we're at right now. It's like these polls that you're seeing right now, Kamala Harris is losing so bad. This is right now as of today. This came out this morning. Trump 63.8% favored to win against Kamala Harris. Listen to what one of her biggest supporters, Bernie Sanders, said, that this is what Kamala Harris is doing now just because she wants to win. Doesn't matter what she stands for anymore. She's only going to say what she needs to say to try to win votes. Check this out.
Describe Vice President Kamala Harris as a progressive. She has previously supported Medicare for all. Now she does not. She's previously supported a ban on fracking. Now she does not. These, Senator, are ideas that you have campaigned on. Do you think that she is abandoning her progressive ideals?
Listen to this.
No, I don't think she's abandoning her ideals. I think she's trying to be pragmatic and doing what she thinks is right in order to win the election.
Right there. No, she's not abandoning what she stood for all these years of being super progressive. She just wants to win the presidency. Right there. This tells everybody the truth that all she is fake.
My own view is slightly different.
Oh, come on.
That in America today, there are a lot of people, rural people, working class people, who no longer believe that the United States Congress and government represents their interests. They're dominated by big money interests. So I think that there is something wrong personally when we are the only
Vice President.
Right there. And so when one of your biggest supporters now is just telling everybody in the world that the only reason that you are what you're trying to do is just say whatever you need to say to win presidency. Doesn't matter what you stand for anymore. Hey, Sandra, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel now. Guys, we've got early voting on for the biggest swing states. Listen to this because this is huge of what's actually going on with this presidential election.
Kicking off in Pennsylvania this month, all as Harris heads there today to focus on debate prep. Joining me now, I'm pleased to say Pennsylvania Congressman Dan Muser, member of the House Small Business Committee. Congressman, thank you for joining us. I do want to talk about the flip-flop on fracking and what you are hearing from your voters on. Do they believe it? And what do you think the problem?
And remember what they said. If Kamala Harris doesn't win Pennsylvania, she has no chance of winning. And it's going to take Trump winning Pennsylvania in order for him. It just makes it easier on him winning the Electoral College.
See, will be from her when it does come to fracking.
Yeah, hey, great to be with you. No, we don't believe it. I had one constituent yesterday say to me, well, was Vice President Harris, if you will, fracking lying then, or is she fracking lying now? Look, what we do is in Pennsylvania, we're not necessarily listening to what they say, but watching what they do. The Biden-Harris administration has had an all-out assault on domestic energy, including natural gas in Pennsylvania, from pipelines to taxes to other prohibitions to an LNG export prohibition. It's really been hurtful to America. Natural gas is the cleanest fossil fuel energy. It employs almost 500,000 indirectly and directly in Pennsylvania. And yeah, we're very, very nervous about a Harris administration. And, even if they didn't prohibit it and ban it, as she has said many times she would, quite emphatically, they will put taxes and regulations on it, effectively leading to the demise in that manner.
Right. Another big employer in Pennsylvania, Congressman, is U.S. Steel. You've got a deal on the table. Nippon Steel wants to invest. President Biden has said he'll block it, but I wonder where you stand on it.
Well, I was just in Pittsburgh last week, and of course, we've all been paying attention to this situation. Nippon Steel is a very credible, strong company. They already have a significant footprint in the United States and, in fact, in Pennsylvania. The deal that they've offered, $4.9 billion and growing as we speak. They've already announced that they're going to be adding another $1.1 billion into what we call Mon Valley, a very important steel plant there that frankly would have been scuttled or would be scuttled if this type of investment weren't made. Look, Japan is one of our strongest allies, in the top two, if not three. It's a very, very important investment. I believe, and many do. In fact, the workers at U.S. Steel had a rally just yesterday stating, hey, this is really important to us. And we're talking about over 11,000, 12,000 jobs just in that Mon Valley area. So, look,
like this is crazy what he's saying, that if this deal collapses, there's gonna be like 12,000 people that lose their job, and Biden is ready to stop that. And like not allow this deal to push through. Like, this is nuts how much they're going after so many hardworking Americans.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, frankly, don't understand business, and they have very knee-jerk reactions based upon the political winds that are blowing. I do think, I can't speak for President Trump, but I think he's got a very smart business mind, and he likes putting Pennsylvania first as he puts America first, because frankly, good for Pennsylvania is good for the United States of America. So we'll see how they review it moving forward. But I think it's a very positive investment in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Well,
this is huge. I mean, I'm telling you what, now that early voting started with Pennsylvania, this is the thing. What I'm about to show you is this is huge. This is happening all across the United States. There was a lot of people that are just fed up with the Democratic Party. You just saw that Alan Dershowitz, lifelong Democrat, just left the Democratic Party because they're not standing for the people anymore. Let me know your thoughts on this, because when I saw this, I felt moved by it greatly.
Like in the words of Malcolm X, who told us what? That the white liberal is the worst enemy to the black man.
Yes.
And it coming up in here acting like y'all representing some social justice.
Say that,
but all along, all
that.
you're doing is trying to use black people to find a reason to make some money. Let me tell y'all something over there. We're done. The Democratic Party is done.
Abuse the black American.
Come in here and go clean it up. Do just like Rfk Jr. Just do like that Tulsi lady. You better get up out the Democratic Party. Save yourself. Because if y'all don't, we coming for your seats. We ain't taking no disrespect from a bunch of people who have broke into the country and now have completely broke the city, have completely disgraced the United States of America. America is a disgrace. The number one function of a president is to be the commander-in-chief.
Right here.
You tell me anything about a Kamala Harris that look like she can protect this country after y'all to set up here and let it get overridden with a bunch of illegals. Y'all to set up here and put America's hands in all kind of wars. And you telling me a TACON man that ran from duty, Kamala Harris, who don't know what race she is, gonna protect this country? The devil is a lie.
I'm telling you this. A lot of people are saying this. They're standing up for what they believe in because everybody is fed up and tired of seeing this. They're tired of seeing that there's states that are taking taxpayer money. New York City program hands migrants $4,000 in gift cards to move out of shelters. Taxpayer money, the same people that paid them and put them in shelters that were paid for by taxpayers, luxury hotels, now they're giving them more money and telling them, please go find a place else. You need to go to the administration that let all these people in. Everybody is just fed up and tired of all the stuff that we've been seeing. And that's what I love, is that now people are standing up like never before to voice their opinion, to voice their heart and say, we're tired of being used. We need an administration, a commander-in-chief that's going to put America first, what that flag represents, and make sure that the American people are taken care of. What they're also tired of is the lawfare that the Democratic Party is constantly doing against people. Listen to this.
You know, honestly, it was the lawfare that kind of brought me off the sidelines. It's really disgusting behavior because this is how you descend into a complete banana republic with military coups and military rule. The moment you can start weaponizing the law against your enemies selectively, that's the beginning of the end. There was a famous dictator who said something like, you know, for my friends, anything. For my enemies, the law. Right. And what he meant by that is once you're in charge and you get to dictate who the law applies to, you're in a very slippery slope. And slippery slopes are real, by the way, as we know. As a clear example, if you were to actually look at the charges that were brought against Trump, and I actually read them quite carefully. I mean, these were really trumped up. They were really made up.
How many law professors have said this? How many law expert, lifelong lawyers have said, look, every single one of those counts were a misdemeanor. They were out of the statute of limitations and nobody wanted to touch it. But what did they do? They convoluted the law. They kept changing it to make it so that they could charge him. And now that the Supreme Court is involved, and basically what we heard from the lawyer earlier is that because of what the Supreme Court said, it basically invalidates the entire hush money trial. This is where more and more people like this guy, big investor, big entrepreneur, talking with Megyn Kelly about how this is that we're done with the Democratic Party. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
You violated the statute of limitations. You tried to drum things up into a felony when there was no evidence of such. It was a miscategorization of business expenses. When you have complex business dealings like I do and like many people do, you can always find something. So it's this selective prosecution. It's a selective persecution that allows them to get away with this. And, you know, a lot of the progressive DA movement that comes out of George Soros and others is based on this understanding that, hey, actually, we can choose whether or not to prosecute certain people. And these are elected offices that are, you know, that either are in territory where the voters are really favorable to us, or they're really cheap to run because there's no organized opposition. So let's just organize and take over prosecution. That's what happened in San Francisco. If you want the case against Kamala Harris, it's the fact that she was DA in San Francisco, and San Francisco is a mess.
Yes,
and in fact, afterwards, she advocated for George Gascon, who's the guy who's destroying LA, through basically not prosecuting criminals and going after business owners. So this selective prosecution thing is a disaster. You can take a deep blue or deep red state. You can take a deep blue or deep red jury. You can basically creatively interpret these infinite laws that we have to find anybody guilty of a crime. Like I think there's that other famous saying, like, you know, you find me the man and I'll find you the crime. Or give me 6 sentences written by any honest man and I will find the crime. So you can always find a crime that somebody is guilty of violating. So the moment you start breaking down this wall and you get into weaponizing justice. You know, Hillary Clinton blew up her email server wiped it with bleach bit. There was no consequences from that. Turns out the Hunter Biden laptop was real. Who knew, right? Even though we were told it was all misinformation by the intelligence agencies. This is the scary stuff. This is the stuff that ends a republic or turns into a one-party state, better known as a dictatorship. China is a one-party state. North Korea is a one-party state. So I don't use the words one-party state lightly. But I think the weaponization of the justice system, the engagement and willingness to go into lawfare, that is the thing that will lead to violence. That is the thing that will lead to a dissolution and a breakup and something worse in the United States. So I think when these guys start playing with going after their political enemies, when Alvin Bragg runs on the explicit campaign to take down Trump, and then they go hunting through and looking for anything and drumming up any charge and go after him in the most favorable juries in the most favorable part of the country, and then just control the evidence and control the narrative, that is the beginning of the end. And the people who in Silicon Valley and the donors who are out there supporting this lawfare, they're dead to me. I mean, these people are destroying the ground on which they stand. Do they think they won't be next? When you destroy the institutions of fairness and merit, eventually you're the ones who get thrown up against the wall. But that's what it does. It creates this revenge fantasy, right? Now you want to get back. I mean, that's the only way they're going to learn.
I'm telling you this, more and more of these videos are coming out. Everybody, it's like It's like we've all been lied to for so long, and now we're finally seeing the truth. That all this was convoluted, all this Russian hoax, Russian collusion, all this has been fake. People are starting to finally see the truth, and it's making America actually get to where we should be at, which is a constitutional republic with democracy. When one party runs on that if you elect this person, that it's going to be the end of democracy, and that they try to they did everything that they did to get Biden out, put Kamala Harris in, who never received a vote from any person, who never went into a primaries, who didn't debate any other Democrat to try to win the Democratic nominee. She was just basically chosen. That's what a banana republic does. That's what a communist party does. That's what North Korea and all them do. They pick and choose who they want. They are the puppets, and then they just execute what the people behind the scenes want. That's what we got to get away from, and that's why we got to stand on the truth and make sure that the truth comes out. Because I'm telling you like this, there's enemies out there that don't like the United States. What you're about to see right now, this is insane. I'm glad that they caught it. I'm glad that this was found before something actually happened. But there's people that were there was a man charged with plotting an attack against the Jewish people, and they literally said the people that were investigating it was going to be worse than 9/11. Check this out.
Breaking news, the Justice Department says a planned terror attack in New York City has been thwarted. The suspect allegedly wanted to target Jewish people on October 7th, 1 year after the attack in Israel. The suspect was quoted by the FBI as saying, "If we succeed with our plan, this would be the largest attack on U.S. soil since 9/11. CBS's Nancy Cordes is at the White House with new reporting. Good evening, Nancy. It is chilling to read what this suspect was planning.
It really is, Nora, and it took the FBI working with Canadian law enforcement to identify and apprehend this suspect, who is now accused of plotting to carry out a mass shooting at a Jewish center in Brooklyn, which authorities say he wanted to do just over a month from today. The suspect's name is Mohammed Shahzeb Khan. He is a 20-year-old Pakistani citizen who lived in Canada. He allegedly began posting on social media in support of ISIS last November, and eventually, without his knowledge, began communicating with two undercover law enforcement officers. That's what led them to him. According to Attorney General Merrick Garland, the defendant is alleged to have planned a terrorist attack in New York City around October 7th of this year, with the stated goal of slaughtering, in the name of ISIS, as many Jews as possible. October 7th, of course, will mark 1 year since the brutal surprise attack by Hamas on Israeli citizens that left nearly 1,200 people dead. Now, Khan was apprehended just a couple of days ago in Quebec. It's believed he was headed towards the U.S. border. A resident in the area said she saw police officers outside her home put a man in handcuffs on her front lawn.
They said that it was confidential and they couldn't tell me what was going on. I just saw, the SWAT team Vance and the Army and the guys all in camouflage with the M16s.
This suspect allegedly told the undercover officers that he chose New York City because it has, quote, the largest Jewish population in America and, quote, we could easily rack up a lot of Jews. He is charged with one count of attempting to provide support to terrorists.
That is so sickening that still in 2024, this type of anti-Semitism is still happening. It breaks my heart. And what's crazy is that this is not the first time. There's people that are trying to hurt the United States. There's people that are trying to hurt our elected officials, like they tried to do with Trump multiple times already. There's been planned attempts to try to take him out. But listen to what this former CIA chief of staff says, because this is nuts.
We will be marking the anniversary of 9/11 4 days from now. Radical Islamic terrorism remaining a deadly threat to our nation. For someone who knows a lot about this, joins us now, Dan Hoffman, former CIA station chief who served in Pakistan and Russia, and also a Fox News contributor. Dan, your thoughts? This young man is 20 years old and wanted to allegedly incite a mass killing of Jews in New York City.
Man, this is nuts.
Well, this was an extraordinary intelligence success where there was a threat that was detected to a soft target in Brooklyn, and the FBI, in close coordination with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, were able to not only detect the threat, but then preempt it before any harm was caused. The concern that I would have is that there are other threats out there, and this is a job for the FBI on our soil and overseas. It's not going to get any easier. That's the concern that I would have, Eric.
Yeah, do we know what type of connections there are? Because we've gone from the organizations Abdul Nidal, Al-Qaeda, to now what, potential lone wolves or people on the internet who could potentially, assemble a mass shooting, assassination, terrorist attack. Do you see that? What should authorities look at when they're going through the background and connections of this 20-year-old?
Well, I think we'll learn a lot more, certainly once he's extradited to the United States and maybe we see a formal indictment. We may learn more about the tip that the FBI received to start this investigation. Did this individual have a network inside Canada? Was he in touch with ISIS in, for example, Afghanistan, where there's a sizable ISIS presence? That certainly is possible. Did he travel back to Pakistan or even to Afghanistan? We don't know the answers to these questions, but they'll be helpful to us. And then also important, what sort of a network did he have in Canada on whom he might have relied for financing, perhaps for weapons or explosives? Did he have other intentions besides simply conducting an attack in New York City? Did he also seek to launch attacks in Canada? So I think there are a lot of unanswered questions here, and it'll be useful for us to follow up, certainly starting with February 13th when he appears in court.
Yeah, certainly.
September 13th.
Yeah, certainly they'll learn more and a lot about that. He apparently wanted to get smuggled into the U.S., and that's from the northern border. And we got all the attention of the southern border, but take a look at these stats. More terrorist suspects captured trying to come into America from Canada on our northern border. Take a look at this. 280.
And I've got something to show you in just a moment that's going to blow your mind, because I'm telling you what, if there's anything that is the most failed thing that has happened in the United States is the administration just letting our borders open wide. Look at this.
In fiscal year 2024, southern border just 43, 6 times more. Fiscal year 2023, 484 on the northern border versus 80 on the southern border. Should we put more facilities and
more terrorists are trying to come through Canada than they are through the southern border through Mexico? Who would have ever thought that?
Sources into the northern border? Because it seems that the terrorists and suspected terrorists know you can get in easier if you come down from the north.
Wow.
Yeah, well, so remember the Millennium attack that we foiled back in 2000, that was also from the northern border. Some of those statistics reflect the fact that we are effective on the northern border. We detect more attempts by terrorists to infiltrate the United States from Canada. We need to do a lot more to shore up both the southern and the northern border.
Hey, thank you so much, Lisa Berg, for the super chat. You said we have government officials who are openly against Jews. Anti-Semitism shouldn't surprise you. Thank goodness the Canadians got this man. 100%. Openly. There's like who is it? Elon Omar, and a lot of them have been openly against Israel in favor and the Jews in favor of like Palestine and whatnot. But thank you so much for the super chat. Show Lisa some love in the chat, everybody.
But let's remember, those are the points of attack, and that's a little too close for comfort for me. The problem is that ISIS remains in Afghanistan at large and effective and growing. Remember that they launched the Crocus City Mall attack in Moscow. They launched an attack in Iran, and they tried to target the Taylor Swift concert in Austria.
Hey.
There's certainly...
I heard a lot of Taylor Swift fans, the Swifties, went over to Trump because, remember, when Trump was in office, he took ISIS out. And now that he's been out, they've been brought back. And they say, we need Trump back in office so that we can have our concerts.
Have us in their crosshairs here in the United States, and they enjoy the same sort of open field running in Afghanistan that Al-Qaeda enjoyed and still enjoys before 9/11.
Yeah, it's been out there. Here's a story at 1996 that I reported here on Fox News. Terror big nabbed at U.S. border. That was a suspected Abu Nidal, coming in from Canada. Finally, Dan, you have experience in Pakistan. What is it with Pakistan? Ramzi Youssef, who was the architect of the Bojinka plot to blow up airliners and the first bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, caught in Pakistan. What are the unique factors potentially that go into, are there any, a Pakistan that can create this?
And Osama bin Laden was hiding in Pakistan. Look, this is a problem that we face, Pakistan and Afghanistan together, where you've got a sizable number of terrorists and a sizable number of people who can be recruited to become terrorists. And we've never been able to solve the root of the problem. The Pakistanis haven't been able to do it. They too have suffered from terrorism directed against their government and their military and their intelligence services. It's just an ongoing problem. But Eric, it's why we need to be in those places to detect those threats way out left of boom before any harm is caused to our homeland. And that's why I'm concerned that we have no presence in Afghanistan right now.
9/11.
And I'll tell you this, the more and more that we move forward and we don't protect our own self, what you're about to see is what we need. We need to make sure we protect our country, our American citizens, our kids, our seniors. This is huge. But let me know what your thoughts are on this, because a lot of people are like 50-50 on it, but I truly believe that it needs to be done. Check it out.
Listen to what Trump had to say about immigration and what immigration would look like under a Harris administration. Roll that tape.
She wants open borders. Now she's all of a sudden saying, oh, I think we'll close the borders. She was in charge of the border. It's the worst border in the history of the world. Take a look at Aurora in Colorado, where Venezuelans are taking over the whole town. They're taking over buildings. They're knocking down doors and occupying apartments of people. The people are petrified, and it's getting worse and worse. We have to do the largest deportation in the history.
Okay, the largest deportation. Florida Congressman Carlos Jimenez joins me now. Congressman, it's going to be difficult to deport 8 million migrants, isn't it? How would it actually be done?
Well, I think you have to follow the law. First of all, you've got millions of people that have been let in by the Biden-Harris administration over the last 4 years. Instead of using the money for 87,000 IRS agents, I think we need to use a lot of that money to get more immigration judges. Everybody's got their due process. It is the United States. And start processing and adjudicating these claims at a much faster rate. We know that 80 or 90% of those asylum claims are false. And the law says if once found to be untrue and you really don't have a reason to be in the United States, you are to be deported back to your country of origin. You follow the law, but you do it at a much more rapid pace. And I think that's what the president needs to do. And I think that's what he will do once he becomes president of the United States.
All right, Congressman. A new Reuters poll shows Trump is narrowing the gap with Hispanic voters. Harris has a 13-point lead, but 4 years ago, Biden had a 21-point lead. Why is Trump making up ground with Hispanics now compared to 2020?
Well, because, I mean, he's communicating. I mean, look, Hispanics we want the same thing that everybody else does, and we want the rule of law. We want a good economy. We want America to be strong. And so that resonates with Americans, and it resonates with Hispanics. And so President Trump is connecting with Hispanics at a level that we haven't seen in a long, long time with Republicans. We have more and more Republican Hispanics are being elected to office around the country. And so I think that in the end, you will see more and more Hispanics shifting over to President Trump and the Republican Party. And that's going to be part of the strength of the Republican Party in the future.
Real fast, are Hispanics upset at the sheer volume of Hispanic illegal migration? Does that upset them?
It upsets Hispanics aren't for illegal immigration. We're for legal immigration, okay? Most of us came here legally. So we're just as upset as everybody else of the volume of illegal immigrants that are entering the United States. We believe in the rule of law, and that's why Hispanics are gravitating to the Republican Party and to President Trump, because we actually believe in the rule of law, and we believe in legal immigration, not illegal immigration.
That's why we are both.
And I'll tell you this, I'm Hispanic. That is my culture. I actually did the 23andMe, and I loved it because when I did the 23andMe, I'm actually more Spaniard from Spain than I am from like Native American, indigenous, like Mexico. But hey, I'm also too, I have, it said sub-African, so African as well as Jewish, and 0.7% Italian in me too. So I'm pretty much, I got everything. If I can relate to anybody, y'all, and that's what I love. I want to be able to be cool with everybody, but I love that I've got all that in me too, because I love everybody. I don't care what you look like, where you come from. I just want to do what's right, follow the law, do what's legal, and make sure that we're protected. Because I'm telling you this, what you're about to hear next, this is the most disgusting thing that actually can be said to me on the actual news network by a Democrat who's one of Kamala Harris's surrogates, one of her big leading surrogates about the right to bear arms. Listen to this.
Should she also be, in your opinion, supporting a mandatory gun buyback program?
Mandatory.
Listen, we're not going to be able to get where we need to go without action in Congress. We've got to pass some laws to deal with this. Now, I was heartened by the fact that 2 years ago, we finally did a gun safety law, the Safer Communities Act. And it was the first gun safety law we passed in 30 years. 30 years. And it was modest, but it did save lives. But clearly, in the wake of what happened just the other day in Winder, Georgia, it's not enough. And the least we can do is move forward on the bipartisan spaces where ordinary people agree. Clearly, there's a disconnect between what the people, the American people, want and what they're able to get out of their government. Again, 87% of Americans believe in background checks. And yet I hear politicians say that it's not guns who kill people, it's people who kill people. And yet we don't even want to know who those people are. We won't even support.
Senator, just yes or no, though, should she support the mandatory buyback program? Just a yes or no.
Listen, look, as a pastor, I've done buyback programs. You can pick this issue or that issue. But I think that, again, there's not one single thing that will make all of this go away.
Let me tell you this. The right to bear arms is the only thing is there to protect us from a tyrannical government. From the government coming in and trying to control everything. The right to bear arms. That's the only thing that separates us from everybody else in the entire world. That's what made America great, and that's what makes America great, is that we have the right to protect ourselves. But yet, whenever you hear one of her top surrogates say that there should be a mandatory gun buyback, not cool. Not cool. Just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. And thank you to everybody that has become a new member of the channel, and to everybody that has given a super chat donation. It means the world to us that you are supporting us. Remember, the links are in the description. It's less than $1 a month. But we are trying to get to a goal of 10,000 members on this channel to do something great in this world with this community. We want to take that money, go out and do positive change. We want to bring a positive impact. There's too much craziness going on, and we want to video that, and we want you to be a part of that. So please join us in our goal to reach 10,000. Hey, thank you so much, Kevin Bauman's, for the super chat. But every bit helps, and we appreciate you so much. And just want to say thank you to all of our members. Thank you to the newest ones, Joyce, Massa, Lynn, Defoe. We have Sandra Mario's Renzi. Hopefully I'm saying the names right. And we want to grow this because, again, too, the true life news, the whole purpose why I started this channel, the whole reason why I did this was to bring the truth. I'm so tired of hearing different things from different networks, and that's why on this channel, you'll see things from MSNBC, from CNN, from Fox, because I'm looking for the truth. And once I find the truth, I bring it to you. That is why I'm here to serve you. We love you. We thank you. Appreciate you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.